Hey there everyone, welcome back to Utility Sports. Really excited to be covering the San Antonio Spurs in today's video where we talk about some draft pick trades that could shake up the NBA and specifically San Antonio. First of all, congratulations to my San Antonio Spurs fans here on the channel. The lottery luck came through again this year, granting the second overall pick to San Antonio in a very strong draft class, one that likely has the Spurs looking at Dylan Harper out of Rutgers, second overall. And now this opens up trade flexibility for some of the players you see on the screen with Kevin Durant and Giannis Antetokounmpo. So let's not waste any more time. Let's jump into some of those trade packages. What could they look like? And specifically, the first one we'll talk about here in trade package number one does ultimately bring Giannis Antetokounmpo to San Antonio to pair him with Victor Wembanyama to open the championship window in San Antonio wide open immediately, to best present a challenge to Oklahoma City, Houston, some of the other best teams in the Western Conference. Landing Giannis, bringing him into San Antonio, very, very possible that the Spurs could swing and swing big. And this package right here does not include the second overall pick. It does include Stephon Castle, pick number 14, and a variety of other assets that are extremely valuable. And Spurs fans, there is going to be some hesitancy here. I do understand, but I want you to hear me out. You guys know that I have your best interests in mind when it comes to making a trade. And I do think if you are landing at Giannis Antetokounmpo, you're getting a top 3 player in the entire sport, and you're pairing him with another top 5 player already in Victor Wembanyama. I don't know if there's a better combination you could imagine in basketball than Giannis and Wembanyama together on the defensive end of the floor. Then offensively, Wemby's ability to stretch, make plays off the dribble, function as a short roller, becomes such a perfect pairing with Giannis, pairing his rim presence, rim gravity, and downhill force next to a very skilled big man who can do a little bit of everything, has such insane touch. The Spurs become one of the most dangerous teams in the NBA immediately. While yes, it does cost you your 2024-25 Rookie of the Year Stephon Castle in this, part of the reason why I think this trade does make sense with pick 2 not included in this package, and remember this is the beginning framework, Milwaukee would probably want a bit more than this even in terms of draft capital. The reason that this package makes sense, San Antonio could still go out and draft Dylan Harper themselves. Plan on putting De'Aaron Fox, Dylan Harper with his draft pick control long-term on a rookie scale contract, really valuable for this. Victor Wembanyama, Giannis Antetokounmpo together, that is 4 of your starting 5. Then you still have Devin Vassell playing the 3. You have a very talented, sizable roster lineup that can go out there and compete. Milwaukee get a little bit of everything in this deal. You do get a young player who has some significant upside on the ball in Stephon Castle. We saw the numbers he was able to put up. Sans Victor Wembanyama to end the year for San Antonio, and I think for Milwaukee, this is a tough pill to swallow, making this kind of trade, but you are getting a young player to build around. You're getting another young-ish player in Keldon Johnson who is on a rather cost-controlled deal. You're getting a veteran you can either reroute or keep and try and compete with right now in Harrison Barnes. Still hopeful maybe you can make a playoff run given the fact you don't have control of your own draft picks. You also get Malachi Branham, maybe a second draft opportunity here where you hope that if you give him an opportunity and role, maybe something can pop here. I don't believe in it really. I'm not a huge Branham fan, but I do understand why some would view the upside there. You get that pick at number 14, which gives the Bucks a lottery pick this year to add on to Stephon Castle, and you're trying to really flesh out your young core going forward. You get swap rights in 2026, which is a huge asset, which is why you see the Spurs are getting 2 picks technically back. Those are the swap worths that Milwaukee already owes to New Orleans and Portland respectively. So in 26 and 28, they're upgrading that. Milwaukee's able to get better swap rights, this one with Atlanta, which could be very valuable, and then in 28 with Boston, which you never know what the league's going to look like by then, so maybe there's some value there. 2027, you're getting the unprotected Hawks pick as well, and then you're also getting a Spurs first-round pick in 2029. Again, this is the beginning framework of a package, so if you're Milwaukee, you're saying we want more draft picks, we want more young pieces, and I definitely think that's reasonable from their perspective. And if you're San Antonio, you're saying, hey, we're already giving up one of our favorite young guys who we made untouchable in a trade for De'Aaron Fox and Stephon Castle. We feel like this is a lot to give up already. Now, there is going to be a little bit of push and shove back and forth here, but ultimately I think Milwaukee can look San Antonio in the face and say, we have a better offer from OKC. We have a better offer from Houston. And if that's the case, then all of a sudden San Antonio gets a little worried and might have to be willing to part ways with Stephon Castle if that's what Milwaukee really does desire. But maybe that's not the way Milwaukee wants to go. Maybe they want to go with their own rookie draft picks this year, and we have a different trade package that covers that. In trade package number 2 here, rather than Stephon Castle, he is now excluded from this package, and instead Jeremy Sohan's a part of this deal, as well as that number 2 overall pick. A real collection of draft capital in this deal for the Milwaukee Bucks, including picks 2 and 14 in this year's draft, which becomes very, very valuable for them in the retooling post-Giannis era of Milwaukee Bucks basketball. And again, a lot of this is going to hinge on Giannis asking out specifically, and then ultimately saying, I want to play in San Antonio. There's reports right now he's interested in playing in a tax-free state. Texas obviously fits that kind of conglomeration. And then you also have to look at teams that have assets to go get him. And San Antonio, again, fits that criteria as well, especially now after moving up in the lottery to pick number 2. You look at them being able to package Harrison Barnes, Keldon Johnson, Jeremy Sohan in here as a young player that Milwaukee would want to get in this deal. Malachi Branham, again, there's the salary component of this trade. And then you get the draft picks. Pick 2 for Dylan Harper. Pick 14 could be someone like Carter Bryant, Rasheer Fleming, right? It opens up opportunities for John Horst, who just got extended there in Milwaukee, to figure out the future of Milwaukee Bucks basketball. And again, draft pick control over some of those Atlanta swaps and picks themselves, the Boston swaps, and again, maybe some other future picks in here too via San Antonio into this deal. I do think the Spurs would become instant contenders with Giannis. The Giannis-Wemby front court pairing would be absolutely terrifying. I really just do not know how you match up with that, honestly. In the NBA, you're giving Wemby, who's developing every single day as a passer seemingly, one of the best play finishers in NBA history and a play initiator at the same time. This becomes absolutely nightmarish, devilish for teams to try and deal with, and we haven't even talked about De'Aaron Fox. You'd still have Stephon Castle in this instance. If you're San Antonio, this is just terrifying. So, yes, you're giving up a lot, but we're not completely throwing everything away either. If you're the Spurs, you are giving up a lot of your future control, but you're making your team so much better right now that you really have to consider this and take it seriously as a legitimate option that the Spurs could seriously consider on draft night or beforehand if they do find a way to get a trade done when the new league year is set to begin. Moving on to trade package number 3. This one not for Giannis Antetokounmpo. Instead, centers around one of Victor Wembanyama's idols as a kid, Kevin Durant. And in this package, the Suns do send Kevin Durant to San Antonio, a pretty significant upgrade into the Spurs starting lineup right now over Harrison Barnes. And the Suns get back a collection of pieces, albeit significantly less valuable than what you saw for Giannis. This is partially the age difference between Durant and Giannis. This is also partially the contract control difference. Kevin Durant entering the final year of his deal, the Suns just have significantly less leverage in a trade. And if Kevin Durant says, hey, I want to go back to Texas, remember he played his college basketball at the University of Texas. If he wants to return to the Lone Star State, he could really force his way there, whether that's Houston, Dallas, San Antonio. Durant is going to have a bit of say in this. And if he decides, I want to play with Wembanyama, I want to play with De'Aaron Fox, send me to the Spurs. We know Durant hasn't shied away from joining super teams in the past. Could he look to do that again here with the Spurs? I think very much that is a real possibility. And for Phoenix, they don't have the long-term security. They don't have the, hey, we don't have to trade him, because realistically, Durant could say, yeah, I'm bouncing next summer. So with that being the case, Phoenix may be a little bit under a little bit more pressure. Now, this isn't a bad trade package still, all things considered. You are trading for a guy who's roughly 37 years old. Like, you're still giving up 2 meaningful firsts. A lottery pick here in 2025 at number 14 via Atlanta. A 2027 unprotected first via Atlanta. Again, a pretty valuable asset. The Suns, even as out of control as they are really in this situation, they're still delusional. And Matt Ishbia might just say, yeah, we'd want Kevin Durant to just stay here. And he might roll the dice because Matt Ishbia is crazy a little bit. So you have to keep that in mind here. If you're San Antonio, you might be saying, well, we don't want to give up those Hawks picks. I understand that. Again, just to be clear here too, because some Spurs fans are going to comment this, I would not trade for Kevin Durant if I'm San Antonio. I would not do this. But I do think there's a possibility if they lose out on Giannis, if they can't get to the Giannis asking price, if they don't want to give up pick 2 for Dylan Harper, if they don't want to give up Stephon Castle in a trade, they might just say, well, let's just go do something like this. Go get Kevin Durant. We still have Dylan Harper. We still have Stephon Castle, De'Aaron Fox. We still have Victor Wembanyama. That's a pretty elite starting five. You don't even have Jeremy Sohan in this deal. For the Suns, you are getting Harrison Barnes, veteran caliber player, definitely a rotation guy still in the league. Keldon Johnson's a rotation contributor, albeit probably off the bench for the majority of his career. Branham, Wesley, second draft candidates here, not really that valuable. Some cap relief, which is important for Phoenix in this, in my opinion, helping them with the aprons a little bit, given the fact that they do still have money committed to both Beal and Booker. And then, again, those 2 draft picks, one this year in the lottery, which would give Phoenix 2 first-round picks this year to try and improve their team long-term. Now at trade package number 4, this is a draft pick only trade, but one that I do think is quite interesting and one that I could seriously see the Spurs doing. And I want you to think about this one more as an idea instead of a firm, hey, it's for sure with Brooklyn and it's for sure for these picks. It's more about the idea of this, where the Spurs move down from pick number 14. They move down a few spots in this year's draft from that spot down to pick number 19 in order to recoup other assets. This opens up more trade flexibility for them. Remember last year we saw them trade out of pick number 8 completely out of the first round to get future Minnesota Timberwolves assets. They got a pick swap and an unprotected pick in 2031, which has been used in other deals, including the De'Aaron Fox trade. In this deal, they get the Knicks unprotected first in 2027, part of the Mikal Bridges trade. They also get to move their second-round pick up a couple of spots. Think about this as an idea. The Nets also have 4 first-round picks, so maybe the Nets would be willing to give up one of those picks at 26 or 27 in something like this instead of that number 36 pick. There's ways that San Antonio could try and extract extra value in this, and it doesn't necessarily have to be Brooklyn. It could be Washington, who has pick 18, if they want to move up to number 14. Last year, we saw them trade Denny Avdia to get pick 14 for Bub Carrington. Could Washington be a team here? What I'm essentially trying to state is with this trade package number 4, it's expect the Spurs to not be just stagnant in the draft here. Expect them to look to use one of their 2 lottery picks to pick up future assets. In this one, they get that Knicks pick unprotected in 2027 without even having to trade out of the first round. So, yeah, maybe you don't get a Noah Osengwe. Maybe you lose out on an Asa Newell at number 14. But maybe Carter Bryant slides down to 19. Or other way around, right? Maybe Asa Newell's there at 19. Or at pick 19, maybe a Duthiero still there. Or Rasheer Fleming. You never know who's actually going to be available. So this is an opportunity for the Spurs where they look at this and say, hey, we might not need pick 14. We don't think there's a huge drop-off between prospect 12, 13, 14 on our board and prospect 18, 19, 20 on our board. And if that's the case, then they can move down, pick up a future asset in that Knicks 2027 first-round pick, and it keeps their optionality, flexibility open down the road, which I think is pretty unique and fascinating. Now, I want you guys to comment at me down in the comment section below some of your proposed trade ideas. In this video, of course, we centered on both Kevin Durant, Giannis Antetokounmpo, and then just flat out a draft pick trade in the idea, in the philosophy that in that deal it would be for future assets, future draft pick control, maybe moving down in the draft, perhaps just completely out of the first round could be another option for them. It'll be fascinating to see what happens. But I do think all things considered here for San Antonio, moving up in the lottery to get Dylan Harper was such a great opportunity for them to improve their team dramatically now, and they still have flexibility to improve in other ways as well, whether that be going all in on a guy like Giannis Antetokounmpo, going a little bit less all in on a guy like Kevin Durant, or playing the slow game still, making a move like we saw in trade package number 4. I really hope you guys did enjoy. If you did, make sure to smash that like button, subscribe to the channel for more future content, and we'll see you in the very next Utility Sports video.